Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I'm joined today by a guest you might recognize, Linda Silva. Linda is the owner of Aligned Myofascial Release in North Attleborough, Massachusetts. She has also been a guest of the podcast before. She was on episode 16, way back at the beginning of this podcast, where we talked about belief work to get fully booked. Then she was featured again on episode 62, Deciding to Make More. And then most recently, episode 176, 60K versus 100K. So she is here to talk all about her very first 100K year, and we're going to celebrate her. Welcome back to the program, Linda.
Thank you for having me, Heather.
Yeah, this is so exciting. So you were one of my first one-on-one clients. So you basically were a ground zero client from the first part of me opening my business. And we were just kind of discussing this before we hit record, is that you're entering your fifth year of business, and I'm also entering my fifth year in this business. So we've kind of grown up together, grown along the way. And I think it's so fun that we have this time capsule of all of these interviews of you as you were turning into someone who could create six figures in a year. How does it feel to hit that milestone?
Well, to go back in time, I never even thought about making 100K at one point. And then I thought, oh, I could, at least set the goal, which I still didn't think I was going to hit that goal this past year, but I did. And it's intentional, but not intentional, because I just kept doing the work.
Yeah.
I just kept doing the work, and it feels good, but I'm not like over the moon. And I don't know if I just not allow myself to feel over the moon or what, but
yeah. Well, I think the thing is like you set a goal and then it almost becomes inevitable to hit the goal when you're doing it on purpose. So then you hit the goal, but nothing stops at that goal. You're just like continuing to go. It's like, it's a Tuesday. Here we go. I hit my goal. It's like losing weight. You get really excited when you get to your weight loss goal, but it takes an amount of time to get there. You almost can't even see the difference unless you have photographs to compare yourself on the way down or the way up, yeah, you don't even notice. So I think it's really fun because when we recorded episode 176, you had unintentionally made 60K with ease. And you then said like, well, if I can do that, there's no reason why I can't hit 100K. And then it became inevitable for you. And here we are about a year later. I think that was recorded in February of 2024. And you not only hit 100K, but you went beyond 100K without even really realizing it till you did your numbers. So congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people what you've been able to do because of creating that much revenue in your business? Like, did you give yourself a pay raise? Did you pay off any debt? Did you what did you do with the money?
Good question. I did give myself a pay raise.
Mm-hmm.
And last December of 2023, I put a half a bath in my treatment room, and I was able to pay that off within the year.
That's amazing.
That was like my biggest gift. I feel like that was my celebration, that I was able to afford to be able to put this, and I just love having it here. The people used to have to go upstairs to my main, because I have a business in my home in the basement, and people had to go upstairs.
Yeah.
So I was able to pay that off in December. Last year when I had my taxes done, when the accountant said, you owe, $8,558, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I said 8,000, but I'm like, okay, that's okay. I said, I have money.
Yeah, you're like, I'm happy to pay my taxes. I have plenty of money to do it.
I saved that amount. I was so
Yeah.
happy. I was able, I saved. So anyway, so yes, I have my tax savings account with that money. So I'm not afraid when I have my taxes done next month. It's there. And yeah, so I only did one seminar or two seminars last year. But yeah, so that's what I did with the money.
I love that. I love to hear that you paid it to yourself and you were able to save to pay off this loan that you took to remodel and add a bathroom, which increased the value of your home. There's going to be a lot of returns on that investment that you made and that you had money to pay for taxes. So taxes are just not a big deal. I think too often I see MFR therapists, especially because that's who I work with, being afraid to make money because they don't want to pay taxes. And the thing is when you make more than enough money, you have more than enough money saved because you're making other really good decisions, especially when you work with me. You're going to know where to put that money and what to do with it. So you're not going to be just left surprised when you owe taxes. And owing taxes just means you made money, which is the whole point.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to keep yourself poor to avoid taxes? Like it's just kind of it's a oxymoron. I don't understand why people do that. I lived that way for a long time, just being like, oh, everything needs to be a write-off. I need to put everything through my business so my business shows I make no money. But what are you able to do now that you can show that you make money?
Right. The next thing I have to do is my husband's going to be retiring. So that means I do need more income, which I've been paying myself. So that's awesome. That won't change. But I will have to get my own health insurance now
Mm-hmm.
for a few years. So I'm not concerned about that so much.
Yeah. Have you looked into it to find out the facts so you know how much it's going to be so you're not waiting till the last minute to be afraid by it?
Right. Nope.
Love it.
I know what it's going to be. I'm, have an appointment to sign up for it. And it's just going to be part of life. Where I think at the beginning of my business, this is where you helped me. All these decisions back then, it was a computer, not health insurance or a
Yeah.
bathroom. They were smaller things, but they were huge to me. And I needed that permission or guidance to you just do it. Just do it. I needed to get a computer fixed so I could have my business. And I
Mm-hmm.
was afraid to spend the money.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's go back to the beginning when we were one-on-one coaching. You were still working as a PTA, and that was really draining you. And then all of a sudden, you created the business part-time that replaced the income of your PTA position, and you were able to quit.
Yes.
Could you imagine if you were still doing that?
I do picture doing that. Actually, I'm not. I have two licenses for Mass and Rhode Island, and I don't think I'm going to renew them this year or whenever they're
Mm.
due. I'm finally letting go of even that thought because I know in my heart I'm never going to go back to it. So
Yeah.
I waste my time and money to keep a license that I'm not going to use ever again in this lifetime.
Yeah. Which is okay, right? Do you feel really sad about that, or do you feel like pretty complete?
Oh, I feel relief,
Yeah.
total relief.
That's good. That's good. It feels like that was just yesterday when we were making those decisions. And it felt, I think, in the beginning for you, the thought was like, this job is stability. Like, this is guaranteed income. And you've really learned how to guarantee your income in your business. And you have a lot more control over that than you do over being an employee.
It's actually mind blowing when I do stop once in a while and think of that. Or the other day, a client came in and said, "Congratulations on your 4-year anniversary." And I'm like, I know it really is mind blowing. It's like it's happened. It has happened. It's not happening. It has happened. And now I have all the tools if I choose to use them.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's go back to talking about what we first covered in the first episode we recorded, which was belief work to get fully booked. What do you still do today that you were doing then in regards to belief work?
Good question. I feel like I don't have to do a lot of work and as like I did. I think the most common thing for me is once in a while I'll start to feel like, oh, I don't ha- I'm going to need more new clients, even though
Mm-hmm.
I'm booked out 3 to 4 weeks, which I'm very comfortable with. So I get a little panicky. So then I have to remind myself of they come. Clients will come to me. I just have to make a post or two on social media and, 2 new clients, just like that in a week. And then one of them is texting me or messaging me. If you have any cancellations, please call me. I need to get it.
Yeah.
So they are there. The clients are there. It's really the believing that
they're there.
That they're there, and they will come.
They will come. Yeah. And you've set it up for them to come. It's not like you just opened one day and the demand was there. You've created this demand over time. It didn't take a lot of time. It like surprised you every time clients would come. And the only time you've really had a lull in your business is when you've been out of belief or you've decided that you don't know what you're doing, right? And then you figure it out. You have all of the skills. One thing I see you doing is you get coached when you start to feel like something is not aligned for you anymore, or you post in the Facebook group. I think you posted something recently like about avoiding numbers or something because you didn't want to have to pay taxes. And then once I was like, you've got this figured out, you were like, you all of a sudden were like, actually, I do. And I have the money saved and everything is fine. It's interesting how we can have this amount of success, quote unquote success, and then feel really kind of neutral about it or like it's not a big deal. And then sometimes what I see happen is people take a nosedive, kind of like you kind of dove down for a couple of days, then you asked for help, but they stay in the nosedive because they either don't have the help, like maybe they've left coaching or they've never been in coaching, and we don't know how to handle what we've created, or we feel a lot of pressure to create more. Are you dealing with any of those things?
I am not, actually. I feel like I can get myself right back out. And if I post on Facebook, it's like just my way of like, okay, writing it down, getting clarity on it, and then getting that back is support enough for me to just like, it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's like you can snap yourself out of it really quickly. It doesn't mean once you hit a certain number of revenue, that you are immune to the river of misery. I think we visit the river of misery often, and that's usually when we're on the growth edge and we're transforming and we're changing. I know when you went from that idea of like 60K was easy, what about 100K? There was like a couple of dips into the river of misery as you were figuring out what that looks like for you.
Yeah, the being fully booked.
Yeah.
Because then, so that changes a lot of things too. So that last year I was fully booked for the whole year.
Yeah. Why do you think you were fully booked for the whole year?
Like, if not fully booked, more than fully booked.
What is fully booked for you?
So it was 15. I increased it to 17 recently because I'm really getting 19 to 20 a week. So I'm keeping it at 17 right now. And my biggest problem is keeping the boundaries of my schedule. I really don't do that very well. Well, it's not horrible.
Well, we're going to be working on that now that I know that.
I am much better than I was. But I was doing this thing because my granddaughter went to school, so I wasn't watching her one day a week. So I've been playing with what feels good, what doesn't feel good.
Yeah. What do you think you want?
I like the 17 a week.
Yeah.
17, 18.
I think it's like making those decisions, these unmade decisions. Like it seems really benign. Is it 17 or is it 19? Is it 19 or is it 20? Is it 12 or is it 15? It seems like a really benign decision to make, but those unmade decisions are what kind of create the breakdown in us knowing what we want and in our boundary keeping, because you don't know which boundary to hold because you haven't set it. And then so it's like, are you actually bad at boundaries, or do you just not have a decision on this yet?
Yeah. So I think it literally last week when I was filling out my weekly form, I did write down 17 as my number.
Yeah.
I kind of like to set that, solidify that.
Yeah. It's important too, because it's easier to get fully booked at the number you decide on. And when you have, even if it's just 2 other spaces available, it throws you off. You don't know which goal to celebrate. You don't know when to end it. And if it's just 2 more now, like, well, why not see 19 people? Why not see 20? And then all of a sudden you are doing something that you don't want to be doing, that you made a decision about a long time ago when you set your fully booked based on data, right? So really being honest, like, with yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to make more money? Okay. Do I like that as a reason? Yes or no? Does my body like that as a reason? Yes or no? Because I think you're going to come into a position where it's probably going to be time to reevaluate your rate. It's just going to be time. And that's how you keep your numbers where you want them as well.
Right.
When you're getting booked and booked and booked. And when you're fully booked is 17, but you're averaging 19, like something's got to change.
Yeah, I know. And I guess it is kind of like a graspy thing too. It's like, well, next week I probably won't have 19, but I always do.
Yeah. But you don't even want 19 is the problem.
I know. I don't.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
That's the thing right there, right?
Yeah. And if you had if you looked at your business as a whole and you start to explore, what do I want for my business? How do I want to feel in it? And then also, what do I want to do in my personal life? Because a lot of times we're bored in our personal life. So we pour everything into our business so we're not bored. Like, what other hobby could I pick up in my personal life? Or what am I not doing in my personal life that I could be doing with those 2 hours of time that I'm giving to my business that my business isn't even asking from me? And I actually don't even want to be doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The done deal.
Okay, we're going to be looking for hobbies. So, and the reason why I bring this up is not to make you uncomfortable, but for people that are listening, I want them to ask themselves the same question. Like, where am I bored, either in my business or my personal life, that I'm doing things that I actually don't want to be doing just out of boredom? It could be spending, it could be seeing more clients, it could be sitting at your desk doing nothing. Like, do we need to get you a cat? Like, what do you need? A bird?
Dogs. I don't need any. I don't want anything. I don't want to take care
No
of
pets. Do not send Linda any pets.
anything living that needs water or food. Do not send it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you need to write another book.
Yeah. I thought about
Maybe
that.
you've got another book in you. You just had your 2-year anniversary of your book too, right? Remind everybody about the book that you wrote.
I will. It was through Heather's coaching that I actually followed through with this book. It's called A Lifetime of Sisters Weekends. And it is about my sisters and I. I have 6 sisters. So there's 7 girls, and we have been going away together this will be our 41st year. We're going to be making plans soon. Yeah. And keeping our connectedness through thick and thin and everything in between, raising families and careers and all that. We stayed together.
I love that. And you guys had a loss this year. Your mother passed away. So you have had life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was tough with the business. I don't think I gave myself enough time. I literally was back, I took the time off the 3 days that we sat with her, she transitioned, but I made up for it when I could, and I did. But yeah, so that's a life lesson too. Like, where did I think my clients were going to go if I took a week off?
Yeah, that might be something we want to evaluate. Like, I think this would be a good assignment for you to look into is like, what went well this last year? What didn't go well? And what would you do differently next time? And I know you're not going to lose your mom again, but like just for in any case where you suffer a loss, how do you want to experience that? And how do you want your business to support you? And what would be your just standard operating procedure in that case? Or when you just need some time? And I think you can still give yourself that time if you figure out that you did not allow enough grief or whatever in that period of time. Like, could you purposefully plan to take a week or 2, or maybe it's 6 weeks this year, especially for your own healing?
Yeah. I have already put my vacations in the books for this year, and I was very generous with myself, and I don't really have any plans. So that is my gift for this year, that I will be taking time off without
without work or without continuing ed. That's awesome, because you love to travel. Where all did you go last year?
Well, I went to Florida for the seminars. I went to Colorado. I went to California. I went on a riverboat cruise, Amsterdam, France, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we went on a cruise. Our sister's weekend turned into a cruise.
Yeah. That's a lot of travel. That's awesome. How much time?
That was a lot. That was 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Plus, no, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Yeah, something like that.
And you still created over 100K in revenue in your business, seeing less than 20 clients a week.
Yes.
I love that so much. I think you're just such a good example of how you can make this work and also have a tragedy happen, lose your mom. Like, I think that was kind of a theme too in our group, especially in the foundations group. A lot of people are losing their parents right now or having to take care of their parent. And it's just like where we're at in life, right? And it's not the best, but it's kind of nice to have other people going through the same situation and they can see, like, okay, I've watched Linda go through this. This is how she handled it. Like, her business did not suffer because of this. It's okay. And we've had other people have that happen as well. I think it's just nice to know that it can be okay. It's not something you want to go through, but if we all live long enough, we're going to lose our parents.
One of the things when I think back to, and I hear other therapists in the groups in the past have said this too, is, as a PTA, we were conditioned, like if we took a day off, like for a random, sick or something, they expect you to work on Saturday to make up for it. So we're always making up time. So I haven't unconditioned myself yet from that type of work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think you're great at supporting people with. So that's just an awareness I just had. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's what we were.
Yeah. And I don't think that you're not good at taking time off because, like you mentioned, you took 5 weeks off and not all of that was for more training.
Right.
And let's just be clear. I do not think when you go to continuing ed that's time off. It doesn't count as time off. You're working.
It is work.
Yeah. So really, like, you did a lot of traveling. Maybe you can do even more traveling where it's true time off. And I think that that's really important and really, dare I say, baller for you to be able to do all of that. When we first met, could you even believe that we'd be having this conversation about all the time off and all the travel that you did and that you were able to like pay for it because you pay yourself?
I know. It's so nice to be able to pay myself, making up for all those years.
Yeah. Are you going to be getting a raise this year? What are your intentions for your owner's pay?
I haven't thought about that yet because I feel like I just, like probably the middle of last year, I gave myself a raise. So I figure we'll give it some time. I got to build back up once I pay the taxes and stuff. So yeah, I don't have any plans for that. One of the things I did want to mention on this podcast about being fully booked and being able to do all this, what I think was a big shift for me was learning about the money part. Like I didn't know, like money was coming in and I was spending it, whether it was through seminars or whatever. It wasn't like being fruitless. But once I learned about having the 2 savings accounts and the checking account and having that waterfall thing through Gina, that was a game changer. I don't know how it supported me in a energetic way.
Yeah, I think anytime we can expose ourselves to money concepts that we've just never even knew were available to us, and we stop pretending we don't know what to do with our money and we just start touching it and looking at it and making those decisions. It's all those unmade decisions that cost us time and money and keep us in place, keep us from earning, keep us from having. So I love exposing you all to the coaches that I'm exposed to. And I am exposed to some high-end brains, and I bring them into our program and you get to learn from them as well, right? And then you get the opportunity to join their programs if you want to. But even just the stuff that they come in and offer, you can take that and run with it and get a lot of value out of it. I recently just did a 2-day in-person event with my mastermind and Gina was there the whole time. And the amount of value of having both of us there was absolutely mind-blowing. It was like 6 months of masterminding completed in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm glad that you are in her programs too. And that, first of all, I think all of us don't think big enough about what's possible for us only because we haven't been exposed to other people thinking really big. And I remember when I first started this business and I was like, I'm going to help you build a 6-figure business. And a lot of people were like, yes. And a lot of people were like, that's scary. Why is that so scary? Right. And now, like 6 figures, it's inevitable that people are going to do that if they just follow the program and they don't stop. Right. whether it takes you a year or 2 years or 4 years, it doesn't matter how long it takes, like it will happen for you. But now there's people that are creating $300,000 businesses, still seeing 20 clients or less. That is one of those things where that did not even occur to me as a possibility because I wasn't thinking big enough either. So it's like blowing my mind what people are able to create when we get out of the way of thinking small and we just think bigger and bigger. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want you to be thinking, and for everybody else listening, about your owner's pay. Like, what would be a really aspirational amount to pay yourself every month that you even feel funny saying out loud? Because I think it would be fun to start saying it out loud and then trying to do the math backwards to figure out how to make that happen.
You're crazy.
I know. Must be crazy.
You did this to me in the group when you started talking about the 100K, and I could not even say it.
Oh, you couldn't introduce yourself as a 100K business owner?
Yeah, it was just like a little practice thing, like just to say, my name is Linda Silva.
Yeah. But you should introduce yourself as a 100K business owner now because it's the truth.
I couldn't say it that back then.
I know, but you can say it now.
Oh, I am. Yes. My name is Linda Silva, and I am an advanced myofascial release therapist, and I earn 100K a year.
I love it. Okay, now let's talk about your aspirational owner's pay.
Yeah. I feel like I'm at my aspirational owner's.
What are you paying yourself now?
$5,000 a month.
That's so good. What if it could be
nuts.
10? What if it could be 10?
If it could be.
Yeah. I bet you could buy some really nice health insurance and also put a lot of money into your 401k for when you retire.
Yeah. In 3 years.
Yeah. It's never too late.
No, it isn't. That's what I'm learning too. Yeah, it's never too late.
Yeah. I only tell you these things so that you can think about it, not because the $5,000 is not enough.
Right.
It's just like, what if more is available? What if even like 7,000 was attainable this year?
Yeah, I'm open to that for sure.
Yeah. And it gives other people permission to do it too when we talk about this stuff out loud and we're transparent with our numbers.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, like, I'm super thankful for your transparency and your willingness to be put on the hot seat, because these podcast interviews are very vulnerable and a lot of people listen to it, but it gives so much inspiration for what is possible to people that haven't even opened their business yet, or maybe they are close to retirement and they're thinking about opening up a business the way you have. And what happens if for the last 5 to 10 years before retirement, you are able to create six figures over and over and over again? How does that change the trajectory of your retired life?
Right.
Yeah.
Not just financially, but emotionally, and just the whole helping people. And it feels good, and it's not hard. It's easy.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the work, it's like, God, I was meant to do this. This feels so good.
Yeah. And now you know how to create clients, how to sell to clients, how to rebook them. None of that is foreign to you anymore. It's just like second nature.
And I don't worry about it anymore. Yeah. And when people cancel, oh, good, I have an extra hour today, or sometimes it's like 4 or 5 or 6 hours a week, like, with the last couple of weeks, and I'm still booked fully, even though those people cancel. So it's like,
you can fill the spots.
I don't have to fill them. I still have enough clients. So it's like that gives me a little break, or I can fill them, one or the other.
Yeah.
And I don't worry. Oh God, I used to cry when people canceled.
I know. I remember like the feeling, the thought that you had was like, no one else is going to come, or you don't know how to create clients,
or they don't like me.
Yeah. They don't like you. Impossible. This is a new thing we created while we were gone in Austin for the mastermind, is this idea that we try not to think about or engage any action or thought about a client that a client doesn't like us or didn't get what they needed out of the service unless they have physically told us, like they left us a voicemail saying like this, blah, 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 left a bad review and exactly what it was. or wrote us an email. So like if you haven't personally heard it from the source that something's gone wrong, you're going to assume that everything has gone right. That doesn't mean we don't evaluate and take responsibility like for weird interactions and see what we're going to do differently next time. But if you're not spending any time trying to solve a problem you don't have, then you're not wasting a bunch of time solving a problem you didn't have. Right. I just think about all the refunds I used to give in the beginning because like I was uncomfortable or I didn't want someone to be mad at me. So I just refund them and be done. That's so much money.
Yeah.
They never said they had a problem. Just weird business practices like that we can clean up quickly when I know that stuff is going on for people.
Right. If people are willing to be vulnerable and say it out loud, then you can coach them on it. Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's how you get the most bang for your buck is like the vulnerability, being like, I'm really uncomfortable. I don't even know why. Here's what's going on. Then we can be like, bam.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is what we see. Go try it,
Right. I just got a review today from one of my clients who's been coming for a while, and she is a chiropractor. And her review was, Linda is fantastic.
Nice. Like, duh, we already knew.
Like, I can't post that on Facebook as a...
Yeah. Well, maybe what you do is you figure out a question to ask them that gives you the answer that you want to be able to post on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is like, if you're getting reviews that aren't usable, ask for what you need. I need to do that too, because I'm getting weird wins that I always have people submit, and some of them are usable and some of them are not. I don't know if it's a problem that I need to change because I have like over 1,000 wins. So I can kind of pick and choose from them.
Yeah.
But just give them a question to answer.
Okay.
Might help you with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people that are listening to this podcast? They've never pulled the trigger to join coaching. They're not sure what to do, or they think that they can get everything they need from the podcast. What would you tell those people?
I would tell them the group energy is invaluable. I don't even get on all the calls. Just being in the Facebook group, just reading people's stuff, what's going on, their questions, their problems, their wins is so supportive to me, even though I'm not fully engaged in it. But then again, I've been in coaching for 4 years. This is my 5th year of coaching. I think I took one break, what was it, 3 months back then? You used to do them for like a 3-month thing.
Yeah.
I think I took 3 months off from coaching. So I've been coaching for 4 straight years.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. What I feel like you use it for is like, you don't have maybe a current problem you're trying to solve, but problems can develop very quickly. So you aren't waiting for a problem to develop before you get back in coaching. You can just dip in and out as needed.
Exactly.
And something comes up, you don't have to wait for any support. The support is always there.
Yeah. And anybody that says they can't afford it, you can't not afford it. It's like you do make your money back usually within 4 weeks, I would say, but I can't be sure. But it's a no-brainer to invest in yourself and in your business because the value is exponential.
Yeah. I think the statistic right now is 76% of people earn their money back within 90 days.
Yeah.
76%, which is pretty high. Like, I just love having all of that data too.
And it's up to the person too, right?
Yeah.
So eventually those other people will still get their money back in return, but it's being vulnerable, being uncomfortable enough to still ask the questions and do the work, like put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Because coaching is there, and not just you guys, but everybody else in the group that supports one another. And Meg is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's fun to see the transformations from people. I feel like a lot of people come in and they're very scattered and angry, and like everything sets them off. Like they're very like living in fear. So there's so much fear. And then I even remember like you used to get upset about certain things, and now you're just like very calm all of the time. This was the same transformation for me with coaching. Like I used to just feel like the world was happening to me, and I was like just constantly struggling and doggy paddling. And I didn't even realize that is how I was showing up to everything, like kind of exhausted from just surviving. And then having these skills to manage my mind and to be more neutral about everything that's happening helps me and helps the other people in coaching to just show up, make decisions, keep doing the things, set bigger goals, increase our capacity to have, increase our capacity to want, increase our capacity to fulfill those things. And we do it in a way that's just much more neutral. Like there's just so much less drama. You get so much more done.
Yeah, for sure. I would highly recommend it to anybody. Obviously, as I said, I've been in it for so long and I can't imagine not being in it. Very much worth your money and time.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, because you've probably spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this. What do you think your return on investment is?
100K.
If you spend $3,000 a year, do you think it at least helps you to make an extra $15,000 a year?
Absolutely. Probably more. So, between last year and this past year, that's $40,000 more.
And sometimes it just takes one conversation.
Right.
Yeah, that's so fun. I love that.
It's really the emotional part and that, like you were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm so unbothered most of the time.
I know. How does that translate into your personal life?
The same.
Yeah. Do your kids and your husband notice the difference?
They don't say it, but I'm sure they feel it. Like I am totally unbothered 90% of the time, if not more.
I love it. Yeah.
But I do my work too,
Right.
my personal work every day. And I'm always paying attention to how I'm feeling and deciding how I want to feel and all that. It's like the model, but you're really using.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like take the skills and figure out what works for you and make it work for you. I notice this too in my personal life. I love to get like worked up about things. That's just my personality. And I can feel myself doing it. And then my coached brain is like, hey, girl, like, what are you afraid to feel? Like, why are we going to anger or like whatever the thing is? And then I can just see it and be like, I think I'm bored, or I think I'm actually afraid of this other thing. And that's why I'm fixated on this. And then just working my way through it. And also I have a coach. I still need a lot of coaching too. It's so helpful because then that person is totally neutral. They don't care. Like it doesn't affect my life if you stay spun out, right?
Exactly.
So I'm just going to show you the thing. You can take it or leave it.
Right. I can say, and you're upfront too. Yeah. What you see, you throw out there and
Yeah.
people take it or leave it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Not everybody loves my coaching, but a lot of people do.
Right. No, and of course there's not everybody's going to, but
it's totally fine. Yeah.
That's normal.
Yes. All right. Well, where can people find you so they can book appointments with you, send clients your way, come check you out when they're in town?
Yes, I am in North Attleborough, Massachusetts at Aligned Myofascial Release.
What's your website?
My website is www.alignedmyofascialrelease.com.
Easy. And then you're on the directory.
On the directory, yep.
You're on My Therapist Network, which can be found at www.themfrcoach.com/network.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much for sharing your story. I wonder what we're talking about a year from now. We tend to have you on once a year.
I know. I think I should put on my calendar now so I don't forget.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've been on this many times. So
I know. Well, you keep being a part of the program and you keep having breakthroughs. It's amazing to be able to celebrate all the breakthroughs. It's so fun. And I think you should go and re-listen to all your old episodes and just like send so much love to your past self because she set you up for what you are enjoying now.
I think that's a great idea. It is the time capsule for me, and I can go back in 4 years and
Yeah, it's giving me goosebumps. I'm going to go back and listen to some of my interviews I've done with other coaches too, and like kind of sit in the magic of like what I was doing 4 or 5 years ago. I just had so much delusion and audacity and desire, and it got me here.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. Awesome. All right. Well, until next time or until another day of coaching with you, we'll see you on another episode.
All right.
For everybody else, thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the MFR Coach.
And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making 6 figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.